The Fillmore Central Falcons improved to 2-0 last week with a hard-earned victory, 30-22 over Southland. Head coach Chris Mensink joining us. And coach, you told us last week you were expecting a dogfight. You definitely got one, but your kids pulled it out in the end. How were they able to achieve victory?
Well, I tell you, like we had talked about, Southland is Southland, like they always have been. Very physical football team, were everything they thought they were on film. Very physical up front. They have a great quarterback that runs his own read very well. A nice running back, good linebacker in the Jacks kid. So definitely, the first quarter, I felt like both teams were kind of feeling each other out. We got the ball and drove down and took a 6-0 lead. I think it was a 55-yard drive. They got the ball their first drive and took it 68 yards on a nice sustained drive. So it was 6-6 after the first quarter. In the second quarter, we did not play very well. I think we had probably five penalties, some pre-snap penalties. We had two. We had a fumble. We had an interception. Kind of shot ourselves in the foot and didn't play our ball, and they got a score on us. So we were down at halftime. So our kids haven't had that experience much here in the recent history. So it was good for our kids to see how they were going to respond. We always tell our kids it's not on what happened, it's the response that you make. So very, very proud of the way our kids came out in the second half. I think in the second half, going into their final drive, we had held them to -2 yards. They did score on their final drive of 70, so I think we held them to 68 yards the second half. They didn't end up outgaining us for the game, but very proud of that second half. And we scored on three of our five possessions in the second half and took care of the football and didn't turn it over. And on the penalty side was much better as well. So very gutty effort, and I love the response by our kids that second half.
And as you mentioned, you outscored them 24-8 in that second half with the 8 points coming on the final drive for Southland. Is that a sign of anything? Can we draw any conclusions other than your team's ability to respond to a little bit of adversity?
Well, their quarterback got hurt there in the second half too, so they brought in another quarterback, very shifty young quarterback. So, I think uh, you can prepare all you want for a team, but to get the exact look like and run things like they run it during the week, I think it took our kids a little bit to adjust to that during the football game. I thought for the most part we handled the run very well. When you have a quarterback that can extend plays like the Wisty kid can, and their backup as well, very shifty kid. It creates problems on your back end and in your secondary when you have to stay with those kids for that long, and their kids made some plays when he extended those plays. So I felt like for the most part we did a decent job of keeping them in the pocket and playing good team defense. When you play a team like that, you got to trust the guy next to you, you got to trust the guy in front of you, and you got to trust the guy behind you. And everybody's got a responsibility. And I think for the most part, our kids responded and did very well with that evening.
How do you go about selling that team concept of defense? Because everyone wants to see high tackle totals. They want to get the interceptions, the sacks, the TFLs, but oftentimes it's your teammate allowing you to do that. How do you go about selling that concept?
Well, I think that's you show them on film. This is why this happened. Yeah, you made the tackle, but why did you make the tackle? Because this guy and this guy and this guy did what they were supposed to push the guy to you, and you made the play when you had to. And next time it might be the other way around. And we recognize that, we show that to our kids, and really emphasize that. It does, like I said, I think this team does a great job of not looking at those stat lines. You were able to be successful because of what somebody else did. So that's the ultimate team game and the name of the game when you play football.
And down the stretch, defensively, you were able to force a couple of turnovers and get a couple of stops of them by taking the ball away. How crucial were those two picks when the game was kind of still in doubt?
That was, we forced them. They got away from the run. We forced them to pass. So when you know a team is going to do a little bit more of that, it makes it a little easier too. But our kids were in the right position. We had a young freshman come in. Our thoughts are with Jackson Hildebrandt. He had a broken wrist, so one of our linebackers went out of the game. We brought a freshman, and he came in, and that's a testament to his preparation and him listening all week. And he got his opportunity, and he had one of those picks for us. So, like I always say to our JV kids, you're always one play away from going in the game, and that held true the other night. And he was able to execute when he had the opportunity.
And this week, we've talked about this year being a lot of unfamiliar opponents for you, but this week, a familiar opponent and a place that you've had some dandy football games going to Blooming Prairie this week. What are you expecting out of the Awesome Blossoms?
Oh, Chad Gimble and his staff, they do an amazing job, right? They're gonna be well coached and they're gonna throw the ball. They always develop a quarterback and they're gonna be able to run it and they run some screens and their system is and scheme is very well thought out. So we're gonna have another challenge in front of us. I feel like it seems like we've went to Blooming a lot lately. We don't get them at home,
Hmm.
but we'll travel over there and looking forward to that opportunity and that challenge in front of us this week.
So you know Highway 52 and Highway 14 pretty well. Is that what you're telling me?
You bet. We mix it up. We go a few different ways now.
Okay. But in the big picture development of a season as a whole, obviously you want to be 3-0 after Friday night, but what are the things maybe you're looking to see on the improvement end of things from your team this week?
Yeah, I think we saw that this last week. We have three veteran linemen and we have two younger guys that are gelling with those guys. And to see the progress they made in week two from the start of the game to the end of the game, I think we want to continue to see our line gel together and all be on the same page. And obviously, there's one stat that we always look at, and that's that plus minus turnover. So we have to do a better job of, when taking care of the football. We ended up, like you say, getting those two picks, so it was even for the night. But you saw it last night in the Buffalo and Ravens game as well. Those turnovers at the end cost the Ravens the game. So you got to be able to take care of it and do things and worry about yourself and execute. So we're going to continue to work on ourselves and continue our execution and tighten some of those things up and as we move forward.
And hopefully you can lead that that counts the scoreboard at the end of the night come Friday night, Coach. Keep your kids healthy. We wish best luck.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate it as always.
Chris Mensink, head coach of the Fillmore Central Falcons. It's back to Blooming Prairie for the Falcons this week.